This lecture is based on the properties of crystalline solid. As in previous lectures, I have taught you about the crystalline and amorphous solid in detail. So basically, the properties of the crystalline solid can be taken as based on the four things: symmetry, plane of symmetry, axis of symmetry, center of symmetry. Basically, we should start from the symmetry, that what actually symmetry is. So basically, symmetry is something that is related to shapes. Basically, symmetry is a balanced and proportionate similarity that is found in two halves of an object. Or we can say it simply as a repetition of the angles, edges and faces of that object when it is rotated, whether in 90 degree, whether in 360 degree, whether in 180 degree. Let's take an example of that. So of course, first of all, we'll take the example of the triangle. Now let's rotate the triangle in 360 degree and let's see that what we'll get as a result. And here there is exact same face or exact same thing that we have seen in the symmetry. To make it more simple, let's take another example of that. A cube. Let's rotate that and see that when is the angle at which there is the same face as it is drawn here. Like it will be taken as the symmetry if its face like this, four edges, the angles and the face would be same. That is called the symmetry of that. Now we have rotated it at the 90 degree angle and here we got the exact same angles, exact same edges, exact same face. So here we'll see that it is the symmetry of that. Again, I have rotated it at again 90 degree and again we have the same edges. So the symmetry of the cube is at 90 degree angle. Let's take another example. Just suppose that this is a rectangle, a rectangular slate. Here there is no symmetry. That means it does not have symmetry at 90 degree angle. Let's rotate it again at 90 degree. And here again the same edges, symmetry, angles and face is here. So we'll say that the symmetry of the rectangle is at 180 degree. So that's called the symmetry of a plane. So symmetry, as you know, repetition of the angles, edges and face when it is rotated. Some of the objects give symmetry at 360 degree. Some of that gives at 180 as the rectangle gives us. Some of that gives at 360. Now here triangle also gives a symmetry at 90 degree. But still we need a same exact value. So we'll say that it gives symmetry at 360 and cube gives at 90 degree. So that's the symmetry. second property includes the plane of symmetry. So the word plane explains itself. Planes mean that thing that is made on the 3 or 2 dimension. A plane of reflection or a plane of a symmetry is the reflection through which an identical copy of that original molecule is generated. Let's take an example. Here I have taken cube. Now here, what can be the symmetry of that? Just suppose that we are cutting cube in half. Will it show us the symmetry? Yes. Why? Because this degree, or we can say that this angle will be same. So it will then show the symmetry at 180 degree. So we'll say that it shows a symmetry if it is cut horizontally. So it will also show symmetry at this angle. If it is cut insidely as shown in this figure, so it will show symmetry. If it is cut in this direction, so it will show symmetry here and here. So that's all. Like an angle at which the body is cut down and it also shows symmetry is called the plane of the symmetry. So here these cubes can be taken as the plane of the symmetry because it shows symmetry. After that, axis of the symmetry. Now the word axis explains itself. That means the dimension. Axis is the line along which a molecule is considered to be half. And when it is rotated from its axis, it is the same molecule from both the sides. Just suppose that this is a cube. Now at which direction or at which angle, if we draw a line, it will show the same distance from the corners, from the edges, as well as from the all three-dimensional look of that. That is called the axis of the symmetry. That means it is identical. If we take the distance from here to here, it will be identical to the distance from here to here. So that is called the axis of the symmetry. The last one, center of the symmetry. Center of the symmetry explains itself. Center means the central point of that symmetry. So the center of the symmetry means any point in a space such that any group on the molecule can be reflected back through the point and equal distance, opposite direction and equivalent group is found. Let's take an example. Let's find out a place from where, like in the center or in the direction, from where all the dimensions, all the corners, all the centers, all the faces are equally divided. Like it is just as it is the center of the gravity. At the point where all the axes, the faces are divided equally. That is called the center of the axis. And that's all about today's lecture. Thank you.